Hello and welcome, friends. My name is Whitley, and today I'm going to see how much I can actually read in 48 hours for my first ever 48-hour readathon. It is currently April 17th, and that means that Pageathon kicks off tonight at 7 p.m. Pageathon is a 48-hour readathon that is being hosted by Lexi, Mel, Cassidy, and Monica. I will, of course, link all of their channels and all of their announcement videos down in the description below. We're all just going to hang out all weekend on stream. We are going to submit pages towards rewards. Each of these rewards has a different reading prompt to them, and most of the rewards that we are working towards lets the readers and the viewers kind of affect the hosts and the stream in a multitude of different ways. It honestly sounded like a great time, so I was in. But that is not all that's happening this weekend, because this weekend is also the Magical Readathon's all-nighter. Basically, this is a 24-hour readathon set within the Magical Readathon, where for 24 hours straight, we prioritize reading, and G puts on a pretty long stream for us to hang out. We play games and get some reading done. I'll, of course, link G's channel and all of the Magical Readathon things down in the description box as well. And I'm sure that so many people that participate in the all-nighter take it literally and seriously, where they stay up for an entire 24 hours to do nothing but read. But that is not your girl. That will not be me. I am way too old for that. I like my sleep way too much to go that far. But I did want to push myself and set a goal for myself. So I'm going to see if I can read for an entire 24 hours over the course of the weekend. This also serves as a bit of a part 2 for my Magical Readathon vlog that was released last week, because I did not get to all of the books, all 5 of the books that I needed to complete my calling for the Magical Readathon in that video like I thought I would, but that's okay. We're going to finish it up now. We're also going to build a TBR. Will it be an overly ambitious, possibly unattainable TBR? Yes, it will, but we're going to have fun making it anyway. First things first, we are going to complete my Magical Readathon calling. And to do that, the 2 books that I have to complete that I have not finished yet is Carrie by Stephen King and This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motor and Max Gladstone. These are 100% top priority, will be reading first, but if I finish those, they are both pretty short. I think Carrie is like 240 pages. Let's see. Okay, so Carrie is 305 pages. And then This Is How You Lose the Time War is also pretty short. Yeah, it's like just under 200 pages. So that is about 500 pages. I think that might be pushing it for the weekend, but I am confident that if I really stick to it and do nothing but, my necessities and reading, that I can get those 2 done. If I happen to breeze through those, I also have They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. This is kind of part of my Magical Readathon TBR. This is for extra credit. It's for an extra class that I don't actually need to pass, but I do really want to read it. It's been on my TBR for so long. So we have this one. If I happen to, pull off a miracle and read that one as well, I also have The Wicker King by Kay Ankrum out from the library. For nothing other than the fact that I have been wanting to read this for so long. I know that obviously this one came first, but I've heard comps to this, to Don't Let the Forest In, one of my favorite YA book horrors of all time, my favorite book of last year. So I absolutely want to get to this one as well. Will it happen this weekend? Probably not, but I wanted to mention it anyway. It is currently 4:30, so I do have a couple of hours before the 48 hours actually starts. I'm honestly not sure. I don't know. I do have some work that I need to get done tonight. I have my after work routine that I have to do. I also need to get some editing done. I do definitely want to attend the kickoff sprints for the Pageathon readathon, but I don't know if I'm actually going to start my timer until tomorrow morning. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. Regardless, I am going to sit my happy butt down and we are going to enjoy kickoff sprints at 7 o'clock. So I have a couple hours. If I do start reading tonight. I will definitely, start my timer. I'm going to soak up every minute that I can, but I am going to start with Carrie by Stephen King. I have the audiobook so I can immersion read, and I flipped through this and there's actually like no chapters in this. The writing is really big, so I think this is going to be a super quick read. It's also multimedia, so it's not all just paragraphs. There's like inserts from magazines, from different books. So I think this will be a really quick read, so I want to knock it out first. And I'm obsessed with this cover. It's so cool. Anyway, that is the plans for tonight. Loose plans because I don't actually know the plans, but I'm going to go get my evening routine done, get some errands done, and then we'll be back to kick off Pageathon. It is time. I am ready to lock in. I'm ready to get some work done first, but I am here. The readathon has started and I have all of my duties done for the evening. I got my workout in. I am fed. Sydney is fed. We are good to go to lock in, get some work done, and then hopefully get some pages in tonight. I'm not going to start the timer until I actually, start reading. But I think during this first sprint, I'm just going to do some editing because that desperately needs done. And then during the next sprint, we'll see where I'm at and see if I can maybe get some pages in. Okay, I managed to get a pretty good chunk of the video that I'm editing done. So I think I'm going to take a break from editing during this next sprint and I'm going to start Carrie. I am so excited. I would definitely consider myself a Stephen King fan, even though I know a lot of his earlier stuff maybe doesn't age super well. Like some racist comments. So I am a little nervous about that, but I am very excited. I've never seen any kind of media pertaining to Carrie. I've never seen any of the movies. I have read a couple of things that were based on Carrie, but never the source material. So I'm excited to see where the works that I've read, where that inspiration came from. Also, I freaking love this shirt. It's my Marvel shirt. It is like psychedelic and like 60s vibes and I love it, but I am so upset that they do not include Hawkeye. I'm offended. Like, he is one of the original 6 Avengers and they just decided to leave him off of this shirt and I'm salty about it, but I do love this shirt. But I had to air my grievances with you. So I am going to pop in the audiobook and do some immersive reading for Carrie. Okay, so I managed to get about 40 pages into Carrie. There is an introduction in this version and the audiobook version that I'm listening to from Margaret Atwood. I ended up starting it, but I quickly passed by it because I don't know if everyone would consider them spoilers, but it was talking about things that I didn't know about the story. So I did not want any of that. So I just skipped that. I'm going to go back after I'm finished reading and actually read the introduction, but I did not want it before the story because it was talking about things that I didn't know about the story, so I didn't want any spoilers. But the audiobook version also had a foreword by Stephen King. Unfortunately, my book does not have that, but I found it so interesting. He talks about kind of where the inspiration for Carrie came from, and it was based on, Carrie is based on 2 girls that he went to school with that were like bullied really bad. And I guess his wife actually is the one that convinced him to continue on writing this story. Like, he threw it away, but his wife was like, no, I want to, see where it goes. I also did not know that this is King's first published book. I knew it was old. I knew it was one of his like classics. I knew it was one that was released in the 70s, but I did not realize that it was his first. Not necessarily his first published work in general. He does say that he had some like short stories that were in some newspapers, but like this is his first actual published book. I did not know that. So this is his debut. And what an introduction this was. We open with Carrie getting her first ever period, and she has no idea what's happening. And this happens in a locker room, and all of the girls, you know, start making fun of her. They are just truly awful to her. And it was hard to read. It was really gruesome. Your heart absolutely breaks for this poor girl, especially when you see how her home life is. Not only is she struggling so much at school to not only fit in, but just kind of survive. These girls just endlessly taunting her, but her mother also just relentlessly barrages her. She is very religious and she thinks that everything is a sin. So not only is Carrie getting this poor treatment at school, but she is getting it at home too. This poor girl really has nowhere to escape. I am liking how it's written so far. It keeps like jumping back to books. There is a book that one of her classmates wrote, and we're getting snippets from that. We're getting snippets from like newspapers. We're getting snippets from like notebooks that were found at her school. And we know at this point that something happened. People know about Carrie. Like, we are jumping ahead in time with these other multimedia aspects, and they're talking about what we are going to learn, but we haven't learned yet. So we do know that something obviously is going to happen, and that something happened with Carrie that garnered a lot of attention, but we're just not sure what that is yet. And I am very intrigued. I am liking it a lot so far. Not many thoughts other than that so far. Like I said, I'm only about 40 pages in, but initial thoughts, I'm enjoying it and excited to continue. It is getting pretty late. It is like 9:30, which is my bedtime usually. Especially on weeknights, I get up at 5:30 a.m. because I have to be at work at 7. So I'm getting a little tired. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get any more read tonight, but I will definitely be back tomorrow and we will jump back into this. Good Saturday morning. I have been fed. I have been watered. I have not been caffeinated yet, but I am prepared to be caffeinated. I read about an hour yesterday, and then this morning I managed to read about another hour. So right now, let's see what the timer is at. Right now I have read for 2 hours and 8 minutes, so not too bad for a Saturday morning. I did manage to get 50% into Carrie. I'm on page 144. I just reached part 2, prom night. So I was correct in my assumption that this is a very quick read. I am still really liking it. Although there have been a few things that are definitely of note that I have not liked. One is the couple of instances where there is quite some racist tones and scenes in here. Like, Carrie's mother is super religious, so she has all of these religious artworks, and it just happened to be that the devil in one of the artworks was, of course, a black man. And then there was, you know, King's not so timely use of the N-word, which is never appreciated. And it's just so unnecessary. but I kind of knew with this being an old king that I was probably going to get some of that, but that doesn't make it any easier to read about or make me any more okay with it. There was also this one scene where Carrie is naked and like looking in a mirror, and I don't know, the way that Stephen King describes her naked breasts was like making me uncomfortable. Aside from those few things though, I am really enjoying the story. I'm really liking the excerpts that we're getting from the future. It is really like setting the pace and making it so tense because we know that something terrible is about to happen. We know that the prom night that we are getting led up to is going to end in absolute catastrophe. And I'm so here for it. Honestly, like what these girls and what this school is kind of putting her through, like, granted, there are some people that I'm sure are going to pay that don't necessarily deserve to, but I am so ready to see these bullies get what they deserve. And I don't think it's a spoiler to say that this book involves pig's blood. And I read the little section about them getting the pig's blood right before bed last night, and I had a stupid dream about murdering a pig. It was awful. So apparently that scene stuck with me. But I am looking forward to continuing and actually getting into the prom night to see how this is all going to unfold. As you can see from the little bit of a mess behind me, I have two streams going. I have the Magical Readathon all-nighter stream going, and then I have the Pageathon stream going, and I'm just having such a good time hanging out with everybody, chilling, chatting, playing games, and getting some reading done. It is a little later than I was hoping to kind of sit down and lock in. It is 11:20 right now. We had some errands to run this morning, so I am just now back and getting my coffee, getting sat down, and I'm ready to lock in. I also thought it would be fun to kind of show you my Notion page that I created for the Magical Readathon. I love seeing everybody's journal spreads, but I have been obsessed with Notion lately, so I made a Notion page with all of my Magical Readathon stuff, and I thought it'd be fun to show you. So here is kind of like my homepage for Aurelium, and here are my subpages. Granted, I am not like efficient in Notion by any means. I've only been using it for a few months, but I'm having such a fun time learning about it and creating stuff. So this is my character information, and this was my character creation books that I did. And then I have the novice path. I went through and kind of copied all of the stuff that G had written, and then I kind of went along and wrote a little bit of backstory and some flavor for my character as well. And then of course all of the choices that I had to pick a book for. And then we have the Adventures in Eldia page. This is the year-long kind of adventure that she puts on. And we only have up until April right now, but I have all of the prompts and what books I read for them. I just noticed that I put semester, so I changed it to equinox. We have the spring equinox page. This has my calling. It has all of the courses that we have. And then these are the 5 main books that I have to read for my calling. I have completed 3, as you know, but we are going to be working on these 2 in this video. And then these are the extra credit classes that I also want to complete. And then I haven't updated this tracker. She has, for every 1,000,000 pages that we read, she gives us a familiar that we have the opportunity to adopt later on. And it is just so much fun. I'm loving it. And then these are the books that I've submitted in the pages, so I can keep track of whether I've submitted them or not. And then possibly my favorite page is the guild reputation page. So I have this set up like I have my finance tracker set up. I have a finance tracker in Notion as well. So these are all of the like income. This is all of the points that I've gotten. And then if I spend anything, it goes over in this category and it will automatically add or subtract to my points up here when I add points or when I spend them. So this will accurately tell me how many guild reputation points I have. And then I have them color coordinated to which like category I get them from, whether it's Adventures in Eldia. She has an adventure board that has some extra prompts on it. Equinox Complete, you get 50 guild reputation points for completing your Equinox. You get some guild reputation points for doing the guild book club. I don't think I'm going to do the Guild book club this semester, this equinox, but we'll see if I have time later. And then, of course, where most people get most of their guild reputation points is the stream where we play games. She spins a spinner wheel. It's so much fun. But yeah, I wanted to kind of show this off. I loved creating it and I thought it was so cool. But now it is time to lock in, focus back up, and I'm going to jump back into Carrie and hopefully finish this baby up. Hell yeah, I got one of the buzzwords. So G is doing, she tries to like come up with new ideas every equinox, and she's doing this cool thing that I think is really cool. I've had fun with it so far. She spins a wheel with a bunch of random words on it, and during the sprint, she'll spin it right before a sprint starts. And during that sprint, you have, am I rocking the desk? I sure am. Hold on. It's what I get for propping my feet up on it. But she will spin the wheel with a random word on it, and during your reading, if you get one of those words, you get 2 guild reputation points. And I really didn't think that I was going to get the buzzword this time because it was so random. It was finger, but I just got 2 guild reputation points because Carrie's mom, she does this thing where she will hurt herself in order to try to stop Carrie from doing things that she does not want her to do. And she's getting ready to go to prom, and her mother is trying to get her to not go and take off this sinful dress. So she is like hitting herself, and she dabbed her fingers in the blood coming out of her mouth. So hell yeah, I got some points. We'll see if I get any more. I got that on camera. How dare you?
I thought you were young because I heard something rattling. I was like, oh, she's got her headphones on.
I do.
I was like, and I just stood there.
Hello. It has been a minute. I have been fed. I have been watered. I have been showered. I have also recaffeinated. We had to run down the road, and there is a Scooter's Coffee right by where we were going. Sid had to pick up some tools. He recently got a truck, so he's been kind of fixing up this old 80s truck. And right by the tool place is Scooter's Coffee. So I wanted to stop by and get a little midday caffeine. I got a lavender berry matcha, and oh my gosh, it is so good. But a little bit of an update. It is 6:31 and I have read for 4 hours and 36 minutes. Not great progress, but I did manage to finish Carrie since we last spoke. I liked this one. I especially liked Stephen King's kind of iconic descriptive writing, especially during Carrie's rampage, we'll call it. Some of the imagery of, this girl covered in blood, just wreaking havoc, was truly iconic. The writing style was a little bit weird, to be honest, especially with just reading it with my eyes. I read most of it with the audiobook as well, but there's no chapters for one thing, and there's a lot of like incomplete sentences. There's a lot of like things in parentheses that are like inserted into sentences, but I didn't dislike it. I feel like it worked really well with this kind of story, kind of how, I don't know, disjointed Carrie felt towards the end. There were obviously some supernatural horror elements in this that was done so well, but the real root of the horror in this book is the worst horror of all. It is the horror of humanity. And Carrie is such an easy character to kind of empathize with and feel for, not only because of the horrendous treatment that she is subjected to, but because we've all been there or we've seen it happen. The cruelty of humanity. God, and Carrie's just yearning to be accepted. Honestly, not even just accepted, just left alone was so relatable and heartbreaking. I am kind of impressed that this is Stephen King's debut novel with some of the imagery that he is able to provoke in this, although it does lack a little bit of the polish of some of his older stuff. And by older, I mean like newer, like later stuff. I really enjoyed Carrie's character, seeing the trauma that she went through and the horror that results in. And the horror elements were done so well, but there were definitely some problematic things about this book that I just could not get behind. It really took me out of the story. There were 2 instances in this where I'm pretty sure there was some SA, but it was either like brushed under the rug because it turned out that the women ended up enjoying themselves, or, you know, no just doesn't mean the same thing in this world as it does in ours. I don't know. And it may not have even been SA, but like the way that he was leading up to the scenes, like leading up to the act, was very SAE, like grapey. But it ended up being totally fine because the women enjoyed themselves. I don't know. It was just weird. There was also just so much unnecessary talk about Carrie's breasts in here. Like if I had a nickel for every time dirty pillows was mentioned in this, I would probably have $1. Like I was over it. It just felt icky, to be honest, talking about and putting so much focus on this teenage girl's breasts. And again, don't even get me started on the, racism, the derogatory terms that we continued to get in the second half of the book. Overall, I think I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. The horror elements and how much you feel for Carrie, is a testament to his writing and his character work in this. I also enjoyed the telekinesis was spoken about in this kind of scientifically. There were excerpts from a scientific journal and it turned into this government, what did they call it? It was the White Initiative or something, that it was a political party that was founded from the Carrie White incident, talking about how maybe they should start testing children for this gene that shows that you have this latent telekinesis. And I thought it was interesting that it was a gene that people carried and it was passed down from generations. And this government group was talking about what testing these children would actually result in, because the only thing to kind of eliminate the problem would be to eliminate the child. But the morality of that, they obviously can't go around putting bullets in children's heads. I mean, let's hope. And it was just interesting to see them talk about what their options were to try to keep the world safe from people with this power. So that was an interesting addition as well, on top of just the character story and the horrors of this young girl. It was interesting to see the aftermath that this incident had on the world. But there were definitely some heavy hindrances that took away from this story. So I think a 3.5 is fair. So I have finished this one, which means I can mark off another class. What class was this for? Let me look. I'm in front of my computer, so I'm just going to look real quick. This was for Art of Illusion. That's right, because it had the alternate formatting, because it had so many excerpts from like journals and newspapers and books, like other books. It was interesting. I liked it. Anyway, I have one more class until I am complete with my calling. Like I said, it is, well, now it's like 6:45, so I am running out of time today, but I also have tomorrow. I'm going to get back into watching some stream. I'm having such a good time. I love G's streams. We like play these games. We spin some spinner wheels. I'm also, again, participating in the Pageathon streams, which has been really fun. I underestimated how much time would be taken up with watching the streams, like the little chatty bits in between the actual sprinting. That has taken up a little bit more of my time, and I didn't really calculate that into when I was like, oh, I could maybe do 24 hours of reading in a weekend. That's taking up a lot more time than I thought it would, but honestly, like, I am not stressing. I'm having a blast. I'm having fun, and honestly, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to have fun. So if I don't make it to the 24 hours, which with me only having 4.5 hours isn't going to happen. I'm not even sure I'm going to make it halfway there to 12 hours, to be honest, but I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to enjoy the streams, but I'm also going to work to try to at least make it to 12 hours over the entire weekend. And just because the readathon stops at, I think like, I don't know, 7 tomorrow, doesn't mean that I have to stop. I'm going to use the entire weekend to try to get as much reading as I can done and to see if I can even make it to the halfway point of 12 hours. So I am going to jump back into the streams and jump into, oh, let me grab it. I now get to start This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motor and Max Gladstone. I am so excited. I've heard nothing but phenomenal things, and I really enjoyed The River Has Roots, which I read earlier in the month by Amal El-Motor, so I'm very excited to get into this one. Hello, friends. So it is 9:18, and if you can tell, this timer has not moved. I have not been doing very well. Listen. In my defense, I have been sat. I have been locked in. Just not necessarily with reading. I have been trying to knock out the video that I'm working on editing. Listen, it has been a little bit of a struggle trying to get out like timely videos and like schedule everything. I don't know if maybe you do YouTube, you can relate, but I don't know, like I have so many ideas and I start filming, but then I like don't give enough time to edit and then my videos get behind. I don't know. Editing takes so long. And I'm torn between like putting out the best thing that I possibly can with all of the like bells and whistles and like things that I think make it a little more interesting versus, you know, people are here to hear me talk. If you like what I'm saying, you're going to stick around. If you don't, you're not going to stick around. But I don't know. Is it worth the time for those extra bells and whistles? If I leave those out, if I could make more videos, I don't know. And I love making content around things that I'm excited about. So the Magical Readathon is something that I am always so excited about. So I had a couple of ideas and I'm just really trying to focus on getting the videos out in a timely manner, because if they're not out in a timely manner, then like, was it even worth doing it? And I could have absolutely like locked in today and done nothing but reading, but I knew if I didn't do at least a little bit of editing today that the video was not going to go up when it was supposed to, and then that would push this video back even further. And then I have my TBR at the end of the month, I have my wrap up, so a little bit of an unrelated tangent there. But I mean, if you do booktube or any kind of YouTube, let me know if you kind of like struggle with the same thing. If you have any advice, tips, tricks, I'm all ears. But even though for the last few hours I have not been reading like I've been supposed to, I truly am I'm going to go wash my makeup off. I'm going to go get like in comfy clothes because it is like 20 after 9. Granted, it's Saturday, so I will stay up a little later, probably like until midnight. So I very much do. I know I said this last time. I know, I hear you. but I really am going to lock in now and start This Is How You Lose the Time more. Ooh! A little birdie told me you love the library. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I get like quite a few books from the library, but I've never gotten a little bookmark in it. And it matches the book with the birds. Oh my gosh. That is the cutest little thing. Oh my gosh. I love it. What a pleasant little surprise. Anyway, I truly am going to lock in and read for the next few hours. So I will probably check back in the morning with my progress and hopefully an initial update on this baby. Good Sunday morning, friends. Well, I guess it's now afternoon. It is noon. I am just sitting down. I had a few things to do around the house. I have my coffee. I made a cold brew. And I did manage to read about an hour last night. I am at 5:32, 5 hours, 32 minutes. And I am, what page is this? I'm 55 pages into This Is How You Lose the Time War. So I'm about 25% of the way through. This is only 200 pages, but it is not going as quickly as I had hoped. This is a very like flowery, descriptive, kind of purple prose. I am enjoying it, but it is a little bit slower going through, even with the audiobook. It kind of feels like I am like deciphering a code with reading some of the passages that are in here and trying to make them like connect and paint a picture in my brain, which I mean makes sense because these two soldiers are passing correspondence, decoded a lot of the times, or coded messages towards each other. So I mean, I guess it tracks, but we have two soldiers. We have red and blue. And I'm honestly even 50 pages into a 200-page book, 25% in. I don't really know what's happening. I'm reading, I'm vibing, I'm enjoying, but I don't really know what kind of world we're in right now. We have two soldiers that are seemingly at odds. They are on opposite sides of the war. But I don't know what the war's about. The only thing I know is that they seem to be able to go into different timelines, and they call them strands in this. And it seems like every time they are on a mission to go into a strand, they find a message waiting there from the other where they have kind of beaten them to the punch. These soldiers are also, I'm not even sure, human. I think one of them was like grown in a lab. I'm not sure about the other one, but it is very interesting so far. I'm really intrigued to learn more about these two people and this world and this war. This writing style just definitely is something to kind of get used to. Once I kind of got into it, a couple chapters in, I started going a little bit faster, but it is still like a slow read. I don't think that this is something that I could purely listen audibly to. Like, I do need the words in front of me to help me kind of comprehend what's happening. But I'm enjoying it so far. I'm excited to continue, which I will be doing. Unfortunately, my stupid Wi-Fi is out, so I'm having to watch Pageathon sprints on my phone, but that's okay. But I am going to continue reading. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my iced coffee. Hello, kitty cat. Would you like to say hello? This is Spaz. If I am in this chair, she is also in this chair. I do have a couple errands that I have to run today. I need to go for my run. I need to go to the grocery store. So my priority, and I know it's going to happen because I only have like 3 hours left. My top priority is absolutely finishing this book. If I can finish this book, I will consider this weekend a success. But as far as how much I am actually going to get read, like, realistically, I'm going to guess that I'm going to make it to like 8 or 9 hours, but I'm going to try my butt off to make it to 12 because after I finish this, I would also love to start They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. I want to complete that by the end of the month for an extra credit class for the Magical Readathon. So I definitely have other things that I need to read after I get done with this, but this is priority numero uno. So let's get into some sprints and get some reading done.
Deep in the night, fear takes its hold. The darkness creeps, the story unfolds. Lost in the maze of a twisted mind, haunted by shadows, even me blind. Haunted by shadows deep in the night, my eyes wide open, searching for light. The fear grips my soul and won't let me go. Haunted by shadows into the unknown. He takes its course as darkness prevails. Shadows grip my heart as the night unveils. Fighting the demons that reside within. Haunted by shadows, the nightmare begins. Haunted by shadows deep in the night. My eyes wide open, searching for light. The fear grips my soul and won't let me go. Haunted by shadows into the unknown. To the unknown.
It is Sunday evening, and that means I am finished with my reading for the weekend. I finished This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. I enjoyed this one, but it was, I'm not gonna lie, a little bit confusing. It also felt a little bit like homework, trying to understand the lyrical prose and the metaphors, but you know, I'm doing a readathon where it's kind of my job, my hobby to kind of do homework. So I didn't mind it at all. I really did enjoy it. It was beautiful, stunning writing, but I mean, I do see why a lot of people would find this book to be a bit too much. I also can't really tell you anything else about it other than what I've already told you, because we really just follow these two soldiers communicating back and forth with each other and time traveling and having their love surpass time and space. It was really beautiful. But with this being so short and so unique, there's not much else I can really say about it other than I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think I did like The River Has Roots a touch more. I gave that one a 4.5, but I very much enjoyed this one as well. Like I said, it was just kind of challenging to comprehend at times, but I'm here for a purple, flowery, lyrical prose. And with that, I have completed my calling. I have officially passed all of the classes that I needed to pass the spring equinox for my Star Whisperer calling. I also, let's check in on the time, shall we? I read for a total of 7 hours, and we're gonna call it 50 minutes. So almost an entire work day in a weekend. So, I mean, that's not terrible. I had no idea. I've never done any kind of challenge like this before, so I truly had no idea kind of what benchmark I was going to set, but I'm satisfied. And I finished 2 books. So this one was 200 pages and Carrie is 305. So 505 pages in almost 8 hours. I usually do go a little bit quicker than that, I feel, but again, This Is How You Lose the Time War did take me longer than a 200-page book should have, because I really had to, one, slow down the audiobook, and two, just like focus in to this world and to this writing in order to really picture what was going on. But had a great time. I had such a good time on Pageathon sprints and the Magical Readathon all-nighter sprints. Overall, a great weekend, a successful weekend. Let me know if you want me to try doing any other like time restraint challenges in the future. I thought this was so much fun. Let me know if you've read either of these, especially This Is How You Lose the Time War, because I need to talk to someone about it. It was so strange. I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of make me feel like maybe I wasn't smart enough for it there for a lot of the time. Like I said, I'm still confused as to what was going on. We never really got any more explanation of the war. It was really just about these two characters. But anyway, I did enjoy it, regardless of how much I actually understood. The ending was stunning. Beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I am so happy you're here. If you have made it this far, leave me any red and blue emojis for red and blue, our soldiers in this time war. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video if you liked it and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. I hope you are loving what you are reading lately. Continue to stay safe out there, and I will see you soon for another video. Bye, friends.
Fight for your goal, then make me. You didn't think I'd be here waiting up all night, all night. I'm here to tell you something. There ain't another love that is gonna hold you down like mine.